You've heard about boundaries. You've heard why boundaries are important. You've even heard that you should have them and probably many, many, many tips on how to create your boundaries. Well, I'm here to help you because if you're watching this video, there's still something you're really missing about boundaries, and it's probably just these 3 really easy steps. First, being honest with yourself, which, okay, I'm gonna lie, it's not as easy as what I said. That's probably the hard part, but if being honest with yourself is hard, then we gotta get a little deeper. The second one is boundaries do need to be expressed and communicated. So we have to be honest with ourselves, we have to communicate, and then the third easy step is being consistent. Okay, so that one's not easy either. Okay, so maybe let's not call them easy steps, but let's just call them 3 steps. 3 steps to help you understand boundaries. So let's get into this. If you know me, my name's Kirsten with Watersedgetarot. If not, hi, welcome to my channel. So, boundaries. First off, we need to be really honest with ourselves. What are even our boundaries? Do we even have boundaries? Are we just such a people pleaser that we say yes to everything and, we, work ourselves, hurt ourselves, just exhaust ourselves for school, for friendship, for work, whatever it is, that we don't even take care of ourselves? I used to be, not anymore, but I was that person. I was that person in school. I would say yes to all my friends, even if I had my own homework and studies I should have been attended to. I was that person in the workplace. I would say yes, even if I was running on zero, I had no energy and I was completely exhausted. Or even worse, I would say yes, even if it was outside my ability to do it. Yeah, that was always a fun one. But the thing is, you need to be honest with yourself. So let's first ask, do you even have boundaries? Do you even know what your boundaries are? If you don't even know if you have boundaries, let's start there first. Because how do you know whether or not you have boundaries? Well, again, if you're a yes person who's just a people pleaser, you probably don't have any. Let's just be honest. If you are a person that can say no to people because you respect your time, you respect your energy, and you respect everything about your home and your personal life, then yeah, you probably already have some boundaries put in place, and that's a great place to be. So let's be real honest with ourselves. How many times have we put others before ourselves when we know we couldn't afford to? How many times have you let yourself be in uncomfortable situations because you just didn't want to speak up, or you didn't want to leave, or you say anything, or you didn't want to leave? Yeah, okay, well, then you're not having boundaries then. Boundaries, first and foremost, are you having the ability to do things, to be with people, to say no, so that way you can be in a safe space, so you can be in a comfortable space. And what I mean by comfortable, I'm not talking about comfort zone. I'm talking about people who respect you and your needs and are willing to listen to you and the things that you ask of them. Because having boundaries is about your self-worth, it's about your self-confidence, and it's really about you respecting and loving yourself enough to enforce them and to tell other people no. So here's the second point, and what is probably the hardest point for most people. This was me for forever. I'm not going to lie. Most boundaries need to be clearly communicated. And I'm not saying all. There's some that should really be like innate. And when I mean innate, I mean so in my last video I talked about being a survivor of abuse. Well, one of my boundaries is I will never allow myself to be put into a position where I'll be around an abusive situation. That's not really something I should have to express to people. That's something that should just be for everybody, personally. And B, it's one of those things where I don't feel the need to express that, because if I'm expressing that to you, you're probably a red flag. Or you're somebody who I'm having a coaching session with, or a friend who is understanding my story, which that's a different type of expression. I'm not telling you as a person, hey, that's abusive behavior, I don't want it around me, because that's useless. At that point, they're already going to do it, and they're not going to stop to respect my decision. I just need to get out of that situation, and that's what I've always done. So let's talk about the ones that do need to be communicated, though. If certain topics of conversation make you feel uncomfortable, people might call you names, they might say things about you, but you still need to tell them, hey, I don't like this, I'm not comfortable with this, and if they refuse to listen to you, walk away. Go away. Because the last thing that matters about any of this is you respecting yourself. So if you say, hey, I don't want to talk about politics because I know we don't agree, and it's really uncomfortable right now. I really just rather talk about other safe topics, the weather, sports, whatnot. Can we leave politics out of this conversation? If they laugh at you and call you dumb or whatever names, that is a them problem, not a you problem, them problem. Because that's them not having the ability to love you enough, to care about you enough, to say, yeah, I respect your decision. Let's do something else. So if they can't respect your boundaries, if they can't respect your wishes, you have to just leave. That's all you can do. Because if you stay and you say, okay, but I don't appreciate this, and then you just sit there and stay, your boundaries are being trampled on. Your boundaries are just being crossed over. And you're letting them know this is okay and I have no boundaries. Let's give another example. Say you have certain behaviors you don't like to be around. I have a friend who's going through, alcoholism. Doesn't want to be around alcohol right now. Obviously, they're on the road to recovery. Makes complete sense. So if I'm going to drink a seltzer water, a hard seltzer water around them, am I expecting them to stay there? No, nor would I ever do that. I support them fully, and when I'm around them, I drink non-alcoholic drinks because I don't care. I don't have to have the drink right then, and it's not that big of a deal. But for that person that I'm able to create that safe space for them, it's a huge deal because they do have friends right now that are like, oh, it's just one drink. It'll be fine. It's just for me because I had a hard day. Not a good enough reason. Not good enough. So if you're that person that's struggling in that same situation, what do? You walk away. You go away. Because them not wanting to be there for you, them not wanting to care for you is a them problem, not a you problem, and you just walk away. Again, if you sit there and allow it to happen, your boundaries are being crossed, they're being trampled on, and you're not enforcing your boundaries. Because here's the other thing too. When you express your boundaries, when you tell people, hey, I don't like this, hey, this is not okay behavior for me to be around, hey, this is not okay conversation for me to want to be around right now, and they don't listen, it's not like that's not going to change on their end. If they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. So the only way to enforce that boundary is by removing yourself from the situation. Now, yes, that is easier said than done. If you're in a car ride with your family and they start talking politics, you're kind of SOL for a little bit. But truth is, how many of you have phones that you can just plug into your phone and not listen to? I actually carry headphones in my purse. Put your headphones on. Don't listen to the conversation. Or, better yet, just refuse to be part of the conversation. Let them talk. Let them do it if you're in a car, but don't be part of the conversation. Now, of course, this is one example where you are not able to physically leave, but this is me trying to help you find real ways to handle with these type of situations, specifically right now with the way everything's going. Another way that you can disengage from a conversation or disengage from a situation that's not comfortable for you is, say you're stuck at a family function, okay? And there's just some behavior there that you're not really wanting to be around. Go to a different room or go outside. No one says you have to stay exactly where it's happening. You physically removing yourself from the situation is enough, even if you can't leave. Now, the thing about removing yourself from that situation is it might not change their behavior, but it's making an impact. Who's it making an impact on? First and foremost, it's making an impact on you. Why is it making an impact on you? Because you're standing up for yourself. You're giving yourself the grace to be in where you need to be as a safe space. The second thing it's doing is it's making an impact on them. And when I say it's making an impact on them, am I talking about a huge overall, oh my God, we're never going to do this again? No, sorry, that's probably not going to be the case. But what they're realizing is, oh, she means what she says. Does that mean they're going to stop making fun of you? Probably not. But if you do it enough, and they might start listening. So this is the third step. First, we were honest with ourselves. Second, we expressed our boundaries. Now we have to be consistent. Consistency is key when it comes to our boundaries. And here's why. If today it's, I don't want to be around alcohol. Cool, no problem. Tomorrow, you know what? I don't want to be around alcohol, but this one drink's not going to bother me. Okay, whatever. Next day, nope. I don't want to be around alcohol. You can't have that drink that you just opened. Yeah, but last week it was okay. Do you see the confusion it makes? Not only does it make confusion, but the inconsistency is only going to have your boundaries being trampled over more. Here's another class example. Toddlers. We all know toddlers. Okay, 2, 3 years old, have it their way. They, only think about themselves. My favorite thing about toddlers is how if you're inconsistent, they will take full advantage of it. I was a daycare teacher, and it was one of those things where my lead teachers, I could tell whether they were enforcing the rules that needed to be enforced if they weren't. Because my assistants would be like, I swear I'm doing what you want me to do once you leave, but here's the deal. When my kids come to me and they ask me for something that they can't have because it's not time to have it yet, because we only do this activity during a certain time, and then they go to you and throw a fit because you won't do it this time, they don't understand when and why you are willing to do what they're willing to do for them. So, A, this toddler is trying to take advantage of you because they're like, hey, you did it yesterday, the day before, why aren't you doing it now? And B, it's making your life more difficult because it's one of those things where, oh my God, why is this thing blowing up on me? I'm told it no right now because I just can't do it in this moment. So inconsistency is you either being the toddler or you being the teacher, which is a big one and honestly doesn't matter, and there being fits thrown and it being aggravated for everyone. So we have to be consistent. With that being said, yeah, there might be a few exceptions. Like if you're going to a funeral, okay, maybe just stick it out for the funeral and then leave. Okay, you're gonna find the one-off, but whatever. To be honest, consistency is key. Now here's consistent I am at my own boundaries, and I'm gonna give my own examples because what better examples to give? The last video talked about the abusive situation at work. I'm not going to really go into that, but what I do want to make a note of is that I just chose to leave. Why did I choose to leave? Because A, I can get another part-time job anywhere else, probably making even more money than I was making in that one. Reminder out there that when you say you can't leave a job, you can leave a job. You need the money, you can get that money at another job. It's not the job that you need, it's the money that you need in the moment. Focus on the actual problem and, realize that there's another solution. So that's one boundary. Another one, certain words. I do not allow certain words to be said in my house, to the point of you say words in my house that aren't allowed. And these aren't just like, you can cuss in my house. I cuss all the time. But I'm talking about words of just pure hate. Pure hate words that just have no other alternative meaning cannot be said in my house. I will ask you to leave, and I will never invite you back to my house. I don't care if my husband's okay with it. I don't care if my, family's okay with it. This is my house. This is my space. I respect it. You're not invited back to my house for saying just a few, 5 words that I can't tolerate that other people think are acceptable. Sorry. Say them at your house, not in my house. That's a boundary, and it's a very hard one that I have. Another boundary I have is about my time and energy. If I have to get things done, if I have an agenda for the day and people are like, oh, hey, can I come hang out with you? Because they know that I have a pretty open schedule. If I don't have my things done for the day, I have to say, no, sorry, I can't help you. Have I had people who try to push that? They're like, oh, but it's been so long since I've seen you. Or, oh my goodness, this is my first free day in forever. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Maybe we can do better planning, but I still really need to get this done. Now, of course, if there was an actual emergency, I would probably make a small caveat for it. That would be an exception. And I'd be like, okay, you have an emergency. I'll be there for you. But I'm not talking about the one times. I'm talking about, the more common ones where, and my friends mean well when they have these moments. My friends mean well when they do these things. But it's like one of those things where you just get really excited about something, you want to do something, and then when I tell them no, it hurts their feelings a little bit, and they feel a little disappointed, so they ask again, and when I say no again, they tend to listen, but it's still just one of those things where I had to stay consistent. To the point now where people don't just invite me out, they're like, hey, do you have some free time? And if I say no, they're like, okay, just checking in. And I prefer that, to be honest, and I appreciate that they do that on my behalf. So, what are 3 ways to really help you understand how to create boundaries and even kind of figure out if you have any? First, we have to be honest with ourselves. Please be honest with yourself because A, what's the point of lying to yourself? What's the point in trying to fool yourself? If it hurts you to say, I really don't think I have boundaries, I apologize, but use that pain in order to help you grow. Because the more that you start implementing even small scale boundaries, the better it's going to help you. And the more you're going to have the courage and the confidence to build even bigger and better boundaries for yourself. Remember, boundaries are for you. They're for you to feel safe. They're for you to feel secure. They're for you to feel confident in who you are as a person and in your body. So we're going to be honest with ourselves. Then we're going to have to express and communicate our boundaries with everyone. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make this boundary and you're going to be like, hey, everyone, big, loud announcement. That's not what it's about. It's expressing them in the moment. Expressing them in the moment so people understand, and then reacting as you need to. If you express your boundaries and they listen, cool, simple, just carry on with your day. If you express your boundaries and they're not listened to, find a way to remove yourself from the situation. And that is the only thing that you can do. You try to tell me there's another option, I'm not going to believe you. I've been doing this boundary work for a while. You either have your boundaries listened to or you leave the situation. The last one, and I would say it's the most important, but the most important is be honest. So the second most important is be consistent. If you're inconsistent, people are going to continue to abuse that inconsistency. They're going to continue to say it's okay because she lets me do it 50% of the time. They're going to continue to do it because half the time he doesn't care. They're going to continue to do it because you know what? You don't care. Because if you cared, you'd be consistent. That's my video on boundaries today. It's a little bit of tough love, but if you really want to change your life, this is going to be something that's going to help you. If you want a private coaching lesson, I do have a link in the description below. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.